Hello. Hey, everybody, listen up. If you are a parent, a guardian, educator, if you are a counselor or a social worker or anybody that works with children on a regular basis, you may want to stay tuned. For those who know me already, welcome back. And for those that are new, my name is Tony, and you are watching Healthy Spouse, Healthy House. And my channel focuses on health, wellness, and relationships. I believe that there are 15 different areas of health that any one person can work on at any point in time in their lives. So each week I ask you to come on and join me as I introduce, define, and discuss each one of those areas of health. And then in the end, what do we do, y'all? We make plans and goals so that we can become healthier in those areas. So last week we talked about educational health, and we talked about educational health as it pertains to adults. But this week I do want to continue the conversation of educational health, but this time as it pertains to children. Last week, y'all, we defined educational health as the act of learning, the act of studying, the act of thinking, the act of doing, the act of growing, the act of creating, right? The act of understanding. And this week we want to add one extra word on there, just one more word, and that word is questioning. So the act of questioning. And we're adding that word on because we're talking about children. And we know that children question everything. They question so much stuff. Why this? Why that? And it's like, I'm constantly answering questions. Oh my gosh. And I'm gonna tell you, because I said so is not a good answer. It's an answer, but it's not a good answer. That's not an answer that they can learn from. If they say, well, mom or dad, well, why can't I run in the street? Because I said so. Now, how can they learn from that? You have to tell them, because you might get run over by a car and get hurt very badly or possibly even die. It's like, you gotta be honest with them and tell them the truth. So anyway, another thing that we want to steer clear from when we're answering questions from them is, stay out of grown folks' business, or stay out of grown folks' business, or stay in a child's place. It is like, well, if you're talking about grown folks stuff in front of them, then of course they're going to inquire about what it is you're talking about. So if you have conversations, try not to have conversations about grown folks stuff around them and then they wouldn't inquire about it. I know that I am definitely guilty of both of those things, and I've been working to change that so that they can learn from the things that I tell them. So anyway, so I've come up with 4 different points for us parents and guardians, and also those of us who work with children on a regular basis. I've come up with 4 points for us to promote educational health in our children. Okay, so let's get started. The first point is create an environment or space for them to be able to become educationally healthy. And that means create an environment for them to learn, study, grow, think, understand, do, create, and question. And that is create a physical environment or space for them to do so. Like for us, we have defining spaces for our children to study, to do homework, and whatever other hobbies or extracurricular activities. We know this is the space for you to do this. Try to make sure that space is clean. I need to work on that too, making sure spaces are defined and cleaned so that they can become and create and learn and study and all of those things. So create a physical space and also create an emotional space. And that means create a space that where your children feel comfortable to come to you and talk to you about things that matter to them, whether it's they're talking about their day, or they're talking about just things in general, or they're asking you questions. Try not to be so shut off or emotionally unavailable for them. Try to be an understanding parent when they do come to you with those things. So that's the first point. So the first point, going back, is creating an environment for them to be able to be educationally healthy. Create a physical space and an emotional space for them. The next point is to get to know your children. Have conversations with your children. Have conversations with them about school, about their hobbies, about their friends. Have conversations about them. Get to know who they are as people. Well, what are you watching on TV now? You still like the same animal? You still like the same food? Get to know who your children are. Have conversations with them, and this will help you in so many different areas. Whether you have to decide what types of doctors you need to get for your children. I know that's that goes without being said, I guess, but anyway. So get to know who your children are. Get to know what the things that they like to do. Get to know their favorite things. And again, that can help you in the future when you're deciding things for them. Small decisions and big decisions. Get to know who they are. And then that gives you that relationship with them, and that open communication with them. So that's the second point. Get to know your children. And understand this, I have 4 children, so getting to know them is always like, it's always, how can I put this? It's a lot to get to know 4 children, and as they're growing, oh my gosh, things are changing. It's exciting, but it's a lot. It's a labor of love to get to know them constantly. So get to know who they are. And out of my 4 children, there's so many things about them that I appreciate. I have a crafter or crafters. I have a gymnast. I have a baker. I have I have a bunch of gamers. I have a comedian. I have writers. So, just getting to know them and who they are. Next thing that you want to do is get involved in your child's school and interests. Get involved, have open communication with their teachers and everything. Also support them in their interests. If there are things that they want to do, hobbies, whether it's connected to school or connected to church or connected to your community, or even some things that they like to get into when they're at home, support them in their interests. Again, create the relationships with their teachers, communicate with their teachers, volunteer at their schools, volunteer within their hobbies and their interests too. Like a couple years ago, my girls were really into Girl Scouts, and I didn't just take them. I was there. I was there with them. I even volunteered. So every time they went, I went, and we loved it. And it was a lot of fun. And also for my son, when he was playing football, we went to the games. And I know that that's not always, an easy thing to do for parents, especially parents who work outside the home and then they have other things that they do. But that's when we have to prioritize our children, and we have to spend that time with them and get to know them. And the fourth point that I wanted to make is encourage your child. If you see that they're good or great at something, encourage them, not nag them. Not nag them or anything like that. Just encourage your children. And let me leave you with this. Any form of health starts at home. And we as parents, we have to promote and display healthy habits at home. They're only children for a short period of time, y'all. And they are also doing the most learning and growing during that time. So essentially, we are raising adults. So children are a blessing, and they are a blessing from God, and we need to treat them as such. And I will also leave you with this scripture. It's one of the most popular scriptures for children, and that is Proverbs 22:6. And that is, train up a child in the way that they should go, and when they are old, they will not depart from it. All right, guys. Well, I had fun today. I hope you did. And stay tuned for what's coming up next. I'll see you next week. God bless. Bye.